Hey, this is Mark watching MTC Media again on the couch. I like being on the couch in my basement, making these things. Hey, look, looking at the college football playoffs, it's if you follow me on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, you know how I feel about this. This should have been Washington, Michigan, Texas, and Florida State. Alabama should not be in it. No offense to Alabama, but they shouldn't. And the idea that you had to have an SEC team in it, or this feeling that you have to have one to legitimize it, is garbage. There was no way that Alabama earned it. Alabama lost by double digits at home to Texas. Texas earned the fourth spot. The first three spots were earned by Michigan, Washington, and Florida State. And the idea that you're not going to have Florida State in it is a travesty. It's utterly ridiculous. And saying, well, this is why we need to go to 12. No, this has nothing to do with needing to go to 12. This has everything to do with you did a poor job. And if the other thing is, you know me, most of the time these committees, I end up defending because most of the time I think people go overboard and they trump up um, issues. But no, this time this one's an issue. This one's really issue. Expanding to 12 doesn't help it because next year there's going to be 6 teams that does not deserve to have any chance at the playoffs. Just like this year, if you had 12 in there this year, what Penn State, Missouri, Liberty, they need to be in here. Come on now, it's ridiculous. If you wanted to jump from 4, if you took the money portion out of it, if you want to jump from 4, there should be no more than 6 teams. The NCAA tournament in March don't need 64 teams or 67 or 68 or how many ever that they have. They don't need that. You know, you could cap off the NCAA tournament back when I was in middle school. Well, it was called junior high school back then. It was 53. Yes, they had an odd number. It was 53. I think in today's Division One basketball, you could have 53. If you could have 53 and you take away the automatic bids, and then you're fine because this is the thing that gets me with people all the time. First and foremost, when it's a team that you don't want in there, it is why don't you just put the best teams in? And I said, okay, if you want to put the best teams in, then put the 68 best teams in during March. Oh no! You know what makes March great is if you have these other teams. Wait! You just say just put the best teams in. Then put in the 68 best teams. That's going to include having people who aren't from traditional power conferences, you know. And if you do that, yes, it's going to hurt the HBCUs, but the people who are saying not to do that are not concerned about the HBCUs. Let's just be real. They're the ones who would have the most adverse effect of going to the 68 best. But here, I had no problem with going with the 4 best. If going with the 4 best doesn't necessarily mean that Alabama will be in it. Because if you're going to go with the 4 best, I can make a strong argument to have in Oregon over Alabama. Oregon lost 2 games, and it was to Washington, who is probably behind Michigan, the best team in the country. So, I mean, you going to tell me that Alabama is better than Oregon? I think on neutral field, Oregon beats Alabama. Let's not get it twisted. And by the way, Oregon has 2 losses to the conference champ in the best conference in the country, in the Pac 12. They're the best conference in the country, not the SEC. So, no, I do think the committee did a lousy job. I do think the committee just had to find a way to have an SEC team in. And they found a way to do it. And it's ugly, and they deserve every bit of criticism that they are getting for having to manufacture putting an SEC team in the college football playoffs when in this year, I'm not talking about the last 2 years, I'm not talking about the last 5 years, that has nothing to do with this year's college football playoffs. It's based on this year. This year, the Pac 12 was the best conference in the country, and this year, there wasn't an SEC team that should have been in the top 4. Period. End of discussion, not debatable. So you got what you want. You got Bama in. It's going to be great for ratings. And trust me, Bama could win. Not saying they couldn't. Doesn't mean that they deserve to be in if they won. Florida State deserved to be in because they earned it over the course of the regular season. with winning their conference, being undefeated, and by the way, playing two SEC schools and beating them both. So yeah, Florida State did get ripped off, and that's a shame. It's Mark Schwartz from MTC Media.